Dead's Plague, as they will end up with another hook here on the Quinton all the while. All right, and we are back, this time for trial number 2 of set number 1, where we are going to be seeing Cynic's Killer against Divine Dead Survivor Team. Right now, the score is looking 24-6, so Cynic is going to need to get a 4K at 3 gens to tie, and a 4K at 2 gens completed in order to steal the W for set number 1. With that being said, we are going to be jumping right on in as we see the Plague from Ultra. We'll have to wait and see what this looks like. Without further ado, though, Plague will be vomiting on the active gens to try and get them infected, giving the Plague a little bit of information. However, the Nia being found quite early, where they are going to be in chase, I would imagine, as they drag the Plague further back into the main building. However, Ace popping out of nowhere, getting infected at the window as well, and a Nia too. However, Plague not going for the vomit just yet, wanted to be a little bit more patient as they will get the infection. Looks like they are really going hit and run here for these infections, to say the least. Just wanted to get them slowly but surely broken down and primed for the insta-down. That being said, we'll have to wait and see if this game plan does play out. Do want to note, however, no play for food, as I do think that they were in chase with a Nancy earlier, but did not, in fact, get a stack. I'll have to wait and see what other perks this Plague has brought here today, as they're now on the Claudette. Both Ace and Nia, do want to note, have yet to be fully infected, so do seem to be walking around, not working on gens just yet. They have once again gotten the infection on the Claudette, though, and looks like they will drop the chase at the shack, looking around to see what active gens have any progression. Nancy's still evading the Plague, however, nowhere to be seen, as both Nia and Ace now broken. Claude not going for the break, trying to figure out where they're going, and yeah, they get the down. No, they don't get the down. I was about to say, it's thinking that the infection would be at the last moment, but Claude just holding on for enough time as they walk. The Plague desperately trying to get them broken before the vault, but just unable to make it happen. Really smart plays there by the Claudette, in all honesty, knowing full well that walking and slow vaulting does not increase your progression, and so they basically get a free hit out of that in the grand scheme of things, as we see the first generator popping off in the distance. Really well played here so far by Divine Dead Survivor Team, as it looks like they will continue to be on the Claudette, leaving the other 3 survivors to their own devices, as we see the Nia crossing towards the shack side through the jungle gym. We do see the drop from the Claudette, but looks like they'll continue to loop the tile here, as they will end up vaulting, trying to make some distance. Plague of the attempted mind game, but no dice, as the Claudette instead goes to a different tile entirely. Honestly, Divine Dead putting up a really strong showing here, both on Survivor and Killer alike, as they will end up getting their first down here on the Claudette at the pallet. I was a bit worried there if they did go for that, they would end up getting downed at the pallet through some pokos, and sure enough, that does seem to be the case, as Claudette will be put on the hook for the first time here, and that there is a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, regressing the most progressed gen by 15%, on top of which Survivor is keenly aware now of the existence of Thanatophobia, which has been slowing them down since for quite a while, actually, by 6%. And they will see a down on the Nia here. I mean, this is what the Plague does. When you see situations like this, it really makes it clear what they are and are able to do when all the survivors are broken and on the ground. However, it looks like they're going to go for a little bit of slug play, as you see both the Ace and the Claudette here. looks like we are seeing a pre-drop from the Claudette. Looks like Plague wanted to go for the Tunna out early. 2 gens have been completed, so unless they get a 4K here and now, they are unable to claim the win and will be going for the tie in set number 1, forcing a set 3. That being said, Claudette does get down. Looks like they will prep them for the second hook. However, Ace coming in, trying to harass the Plague just a little bit. Infection on the Nancy as they pick up the Nia. And so now this will mean a full stack of Thanatophobia will be in play, slowing down the gens by a total of 24%, I believe. 24, 26%, maybe 22, something to that degree very shortly. However, with the down on the Ace and the pickup of the Claude, Survivors could be in a grim position here where the Plague might be able to camp them out and potentially progress the Claudette to an early death. That being said, they're looking around, seeing what they're able to do, and will kick the gen, which will be highlighted in yellow. It's either a Call of Brine or an Eruption. We'll have to wait and see. With that being said, they will end up picking up the Ace as well. No, just going to be breaking the pallet, not going for the pickup. Instead, wanting to keep him on the ground for as long as possible as they'll grab the Corrupt Purge, threatening these survivors with, I would say, not exactly the best of times, as you're kind of at a lose-lose scenario. Do want to note, though, that we did see scratch marks just then going towards the hill for the Claudette. Not sure if the Plague saw them, too. It would appear not, as the Plague will actually now be on Nancy, who I want to say was walking earlier, as they still have not been fully infected. Plague trying to hold out for the broken Stas effect, but will vomit, not getting the hit, now risking the pickup on both the Ace and the unhook of the Claudette. However, there's only seconds until the Claudette ends up being sent back to campfire via the entity, and looks like that will be the case as they are the first survivor taken out of this match. Mind you, Ace now picked up off the ground, and Corrupt Purge with only a little bit of time left. However, Nancy now caught out, and looks like they will get... No! Narrowly dodging the Corrupt Purge just in the nick of time. However, they are boxed out and will take the down nonetheless. Do want to know, as far as gens are concerned, it is actually a pretty good split in favor of these survivors. Looks to be a 2-2 split, Shack and main side, meaning that these survivors are in a prime position to get some escapes. Mind you, with that 3rd gen completion earlier, that does result in a guaranteed tied set here if the Plague gets the 4K. However, the last 2 survivors are on gens, which we know the Ace is not. They will secure victory in set number 1. With that being said, we'll have to wait and see, as we do see the Nia getting pushed off of the Jungle Gym gen here. If this is the most progressed gen, things are looking a little bit grim, to say the least, as Nia now in chase with the Plague. The Ace nowhere to be seen. I don't imagine they would be jumping on the unhook here after the cleanse. Just does not make a lot of sense in the grand scheme of things. So maybe they're trying to start a fresh gen, but we see the infection from the Ace that there is in fact the unhook. Nia going for the vault and getting down at it too. Now the Plague knows where all 3 survivors are, and I imagine we're going to see a Scourge Hook paying residence here. This might be a tie set. I was thinking this was a shoo-in in favor of the Vine Dead, but they may have just turned it all around with the double down earlier on the Ace and Claudette, as the most progressed gen will be regressed by 15% from Scourge Hook paying residence, and that gen in the Jungle Gym is being regressed at 200% per second from Call of Brine as well. So a really good showing here from the Plague, to say the least. And looks like they are going to be prowling around. Note that both Ace and Nancy have yet to be hooked, so Plague will have to be mindful of that, lest they risk one of them escaping via the hatch or the exit gate at the very end. Speaking of exit gates, looks like there is one on main side. Not sure what the second one is just yet, but we'll be keeping an eye for it just in case, as that could potentially secure Divine Dead the win if they play it right. So far, though, Ace still not broken. Once again, very likely walking things out. Maybe Fixate it's in play. It is not banned against the Plague, but would be rather strong. We do see the Ace, though, going for a bit of a sprint and jog into the corner of the map. And looks like they're trying to draw the Plague away. Maybe a little bit of bait, as we hear this gen pretty well progressed. and for good reason, as it looks like the Nancy was in fact sitting on the gen all the while. We see Ace going for the unhook, though. They have already progressed the second stage, so Nia one stage away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity. Mind you, Ace still not full infected as they go for the unhook. And looks like the Plague will be out of the Corrupt Purge, so they are an M1 115, but do not have to go through many health states here as Plague attempts to get the down on the Ace. Nia potentially coming in trying to go for a protection hit, but I think that may have been for naught, as Plague now inclined to go for the tunnel out. Mind you, Plague having to be a bit careful here as they cannot risk another gen being completed, for if they do, Divine Dead will take the W here. That being said, we do hear that this gen does have a decent amount of progression, no longer regressing on top, which means that there is a survivor around here. More likely than not, the Nancy once again harassing this gen bit by bit. They need to either hold them in chase for long enough to where the Plague will be forced to drop chase and check another gen, or take him away from this gen and see if the other two survivors can complete it in time. I imagine the Nancy will be sticking back here, just trying to waste as much time as possible, because two survivors on a gen, roughly 50 seconds worth of time. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do, as they will end up slugging out the Nancy. We'll wait and see here shortly if they send a survivor over to go for the pickup or not. But there's the fourth gen, securing the win for Divine Dead, as they will be just 2 points over the required win condition. So GG's to them as they will take set number 1. Don't worry though, we still have a bit more of this match, and on top of which, we have set number 2 where we're going to Azarov's resting place, as Cynic will be bringing the artist, and it is a little bit of a mirror match today, as we're getting a Plague mirror match followed by an artist mirror match. And if we get to set number 3, we are seeing a Mastermind and Demogorgon on the Cold Tower. Kind of hoping we do see that, in fact, but we'll have to wait and see what comes of set number 2 first. With that being said, we see the second hook there on the Nancy, and now just waiting to see if the Plague can find the Ace, as they do, in fact, at the main building, trying to go for the unhook, but potentially dropping down off the stairs accidentally without realizing it. And we will leave the Ace slugged, as they do also see the Nia. So things are looking like they are about to end. Mind you, Divine Dead probably pretty happy with this result nonetheless, as they are guaranteed a 4K here. And looks like that there will be the Nancy sent out of the match at this point in time as they progress to death. Nia getting down, and all they'll have to do now is find the Ace with 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes actually, to spare before they bleed out. Though I do not, actually, it would matter if they bleed out. So there is actually a chance here that if Ace bleeds out, they might just be able to get this. So that is a real possibility. They have roughly another minute, maybe minute and a half before Ace's bleed out timer ends. If Ace is able to bleed out, that will rob the Plague of 3 points. However, here's the Ace, still hasn't moved a muscle, unfortunately. And that there will be the 4K for this, for Cynic's Plague, but Divine Dead still walking away with the victory. So GG, well played to both teams. Once again, congratulations to Divine Dead walking away with the trial, or rather set 1 victory, and the trial 2 win condition. With that being said, we are going to be going into another lobby, this time with Cynic playing the artist on Azarov's resting place. But before we do, we are going to go on a quick break as we do set up this lobby. As a reminder, we are partnered with Pugdom. Pugdom is a Dead by Daylight competitive community very similar to Champions of the Fog. In fact, they are hosting the entirety of Group B over on their channel. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to stop on by, say hi, and drop a follow too, so you don't miss a single moment of Champions of the Fog Season 6. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. Without further ado, though, Plague will be vomited on the active gens to try and get them infected, giving the Plague a little bit of information. However, the Nia being found quite early, where they are going to be in chase, I would imagine, as they drag the Plague further back into the main building. However, Ace popping out of nowhere, getting affected at the window as well, and a Nia too. However, Plague not going for the vomit just yet, wanted to be a little bit more patient as they will get the infection. Looks like they are really going hit and run here for these infections, to say the least. Just wanted to get them slowly but surely broken down and primed for the insta-down. That being said, we'll have to wait and see if this game plan does play out. Do want to note, however, no play for food, as I do think that they were in chase with a Nancy earlier, but did not in fact get a stack. I'll have to wait and see what other perks this Plague has brought here today, as they're now on the Claudette. Both Ace and Nia, do want to note, have yet to be fully infected, so do seem to be walking around, not working on gens just yet. They have once again gotten the infection on the Claudette, though, and looks like they will drop the chase at the shack, looking around to see what active gens have any progression. Nancy's still evading the Plague, however, nowhere to be seen, as both Nia and Ace now broken. Claude not going for the break, trying to figure out where they're going, and yeah, they get the down. No, they don't get the down. I was about to say, it's thinking that the infection would be at the last moment, but Claude just holding on for enough time as they walk. The Plague desperately trying to get them broken before the vault, but just unable to make it happen. Really smart plays there by the Claudette, in all honesty, knowing full well that walking and slow vaulting does not increase your progression, and so they basically get a free hit out of that in the grand scheme of things, as we see the first generator popping off in the distance. Really well played here so far by Divine Dead Survivor team, as it looks like they will continue to be on the Claudette, leaving the other three survivors to their own devices, as we see the Nia crossing towards the shack side through the jungle gym. We do see the drop from the Claudette, but looks like they'll continue to loop the tile here, as they will end up vaulting, trying to make some distance. Plague of the attempted mind game, but no dice, as the Claudette instead goes to a different tile entirely. Honestly, Divine Dead putting up a really, really strong showing here, both on Survivor and Killer alike, as they will end up getting their first down here on the Claudette at the pallet. I was a bit worried there if they did go for that, they would end up getting downed at the pallet through some pokos, and sure enough, that does seem to be the case, as Claudette will be put on the hook for the first time here, and that there is a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, regressing the most progressed gen by 15%, on top of which Survivor is keenly aware now of the existence of Thanatophobia, which has been slowing them down since for quite a while, actually, by 6%. And they will see a down on the Nia here. I mean, this is what the Plague does. When you see situations like this, it really makes it clear what they are and are able to do when all the survivors are broken and on the ground. However, it looks like they're going to go for a little bit of slug play, as we see both the Ace and the Claudette here. Looks like we are seeing a pre-drop from the Claudette. Looks like Plague wanted to go for the Tana out early. 2 gens have been completed, so unless they get a 4K here and now, they are unable to claim the win, and will be going for the tie in set number 1, forcing a set 3. That being said, Claudette does get down. Looks like they will prep them for the second hook. However, Ace coming in, trying to harass the Plague just a little bit. Infection on the Nancy as they pick up the Nia. And so now this will mean a full stack of Thanatophobia will be in play, slowing down the gens by a total of 24%, I believe. 24, 26%, maybe 22, something to that degree very shortly. However, with the down on the Ace and the pickup of the Claude, all right, and we are back once again, this time for trial number 3, set number 2 on the Azerov's resting place, where we will be seeing Cynic kill against Divine Dead Survivor team as the artist. We'll have to wait and see what picture the artist paints for us today, and will it be in the Blood of Divine Dead Survivor team? That being said, we are going to be jumping right on in, and we see it is Ultra once again piloting the artist. And looks like we got a little bit of a split corrupt intervention, so Artist's gonna have to take a look and see if they can find these survivors without issue. That being said, they do send a few crows out to try and get some reconnaissance, but so far no signs of fires. In fact, I am mistaken as that there is the Ace. Do you want to point out the severed hands and the carry-on here, so Ace need to be careful that they do not brush up against another survivor trying to stealth around. Otherwise, they will soon become known quite quickly. Ace, though, taking a hit, and looks like the artist will commit to the chase in check as we see the pallet going down. Ace taking no risks here, but looks like they will not be able to make it happen as there's the down. Nia coming in for a hit, not in time, though. Nancy also nearby. What is going on? Survivors left and right, injuries all around, as we will see the pickup on the Ace, though. Looks like we will not be seeing a basement hook as pallet is down. Instead, we'll see a hook here, and it is in fact a Scourge hook Pain Resonance incoming, which will regress the most progressed gen by 15%. We'll have to wait and see if that comes into play here. And we still see the crows going by, not seeing anyone on that far gen. And it would seem that they do get a hit on the Nancy, who will go towards the main side. However, no sign of them thereafter, as scratch marks do indicate someone is over by the bus trying to sneak around for a unhook. Artist pretty confident, though, that there's no one there that will be able to get there in time. However, looks like the Nia sneaking in and unfortunately unable to get the double hit. However, there's the BT hit on the Ace. Looks like they're going to try and get the double down here with the crows, and there's the shotgun. Will it land? It does not. Ace threading the needle. And unfortunate for the artist, though, Nancy here as well to take a potential body block for the Ace, as first gen does get completed for Divine Dead Survivor team. Ace, though, getting tripped up. Nancy getting in the way in the nick of time. Honestly, I thought that was a confirmed down, but that does not appear to be the case, as instead the Ace continues to be in chase as Claudette comes in instead to take another protection hit for the Ace. They are determined not to give the artist a down. However, that means that these survivors are not on gens, as we do see they are highlighted in yellow. Could be a Call of Brian, could be an Eruption. We'll have to wait and see. Only perks we know for certain are Corrupt Intervention and Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. That being said, though, Nancy now in chase as Artist has dropped the chase with the Ace. Looks like they'll be sending out the crows, which will get a hit on the Nia out of nowhere. Looks like they're trying to stealth around. Artist setting up for a hit from afar, but unable to do so as they get a little bit turned around in chase with the Claudette, who does light the way, though not getting a lot of distance as they loop back into the same tile. Artist getting turned around, though, but will find them once again. Looks like a bit of mind game there. Will get the hit on the Claudette. Fantastic play there by the Artist, to say the least. So we do see the Nia determined to get this gen completed as they'll go up on the hill. Looks like they did get a Killer Instinct, however, on another survivor over by the bus. The question is who that may have been. Nia, though, now in chase. No bounce landing, at least not from that angle. So they will take a hit here at the window, trying to fake it, but Artist with just enough distance to get the hit nonetheless. Looks like Artist, though, kind of dropping chase here, wanting to instead maybe take a quick look at these generators, see what progression they might have. But so far, no sign of any survivors, no progression on this gen as well. Artist convinced that there is a survivor nearby, but so far, no sign of that in the grand scheme of things. Gens over here seem to be dead. Artist once again checking every nook and cranny. Maybe they're trying to set up for the 3-gen here, as they are willing to give up the main gens and try and keep a 4-gen here. I mean, granted, it's pretty tight 4-gen, so they can definitely make it work, but these survivors have shown to be persistent as they come in for body block after body block, enjoying themselves as they extend chase every single time. You see scratch marks coming in. That is the Nia, who is forced further into Shaq's side, which might be a little bit of trouble here, as that's exactly where the Artist wants you, as they do end up getting hit with that Dire Crow and a follow-up hit to boot. The Artist might be able to get the down here, and if they do, they are going to be in a great position. Mind you, those gens after 60 seconds have been highlighted in yellow, so you know what that means, that there is a eruption. And looks like he will see the down, as 2 generators will be regressed by 10%. And no incapacitation status effects on these survivors here today. However, another gen popping off in the distance, as the Neo will receive their first hook of the match. Mind you, this hook here is a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, so given that it's in the 4-gen here, for the Artist in a really good position here, as they can hook that again and again and again until they kill off a survivor. Ace, though, trying to bait the Artist away from the hook, it would look like. Artist convinced they can get the down in a timely manner. Ace kind of boxed out here. Yeah, that is a fantastic hit there. Pretty much a double tap here. Ace, with nowhere to go, will end up getting down, and they are primed and ready to be hooked for the second time once again on the Scourge Hook here. Regressing the most progressed gen by 15%, though not going back to the same hook as they normally do, instead going to this one here, though it looks like that is also a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, so that is huge here for the Artist, to say the least, especially as they get another hit of Dire Crows on the Nia and swarm them, trying to force them into a position here, and looks like they will get the down, as Eruption procs once again, regressing that gen by 15%. Artist, though, a little bit concerned for the potential of a pallet drop here. Will not be deterred, though, as we do see a gen popping off in the 4-gen. So breaking up just a little bit. Now a 3-1 split. Still going to be difficult for these survivors to break into this 3-gen here. But they did get the one back in the furthest corner of this map, meaning that they will have a little bit more room to work in the grand scheme of things. Dire Crows popping on both the Nia and the Nancy, as we do see Nancy go for the unhook, though it looks like Claudette will be the one in chase after all, as they'll be going over towards the shack. Mind you, not a lot of in the way of resources here, as pallet has already been dropped. Life, though, going to get the Claudette a little bit of distance, though, taking a wide turn around the shack to ensure that they do not get hit by the Dire Crows within their flight path. Artist, though, been pretty confident in this tile, so Claudette will have to be a bit careful, though they're starting to drag them away from the active gens. Scratch marks on the right side by the bus. Claudette wanting to take the hit, and looks like sprint away towards main side. And we do see Ace coming in, as well as I want to say the Nia here as well. And a blast mine going to be blinding the Artist. Unfortunate, as that will stun them, allowing these survivors to make a little bit of distance and potentially disappear into the realm. However, Nia getting caught out here. Keep in mind, they are on death hook, so they do need to be a little bit careful. Though with the amount of progression on that gen, I imagine survivors starting to set up over on Shaq's side, actually sorry, main side, and completing that last gen, as this gen here pretty well progressed. Mind you, no Call of Brian here, so gens are progressing at 0.3% per second after the initial 2.5% regression. We do hear the Nia drop down. Artist heard it too. And looks like they'll be trying to chase them over onto main side. However, they need to be very careful doing so. If even one survivor made their way past the Artist in that middle of the map and got to the gen on the bus, I do think that would spell the end for this trial. However, Artist, determined that is not the case, will continue in chase, though this time hitting the Claudette, who I imagine does not have another heal in that med kit. Artist now having to make a decision. Do you commit to the chase or not? And looks like, though, they're trying to find the Nia, they find the Claudette instead, who will vault here, getting a little bit of distance from life, though, getting boxed into a corner. We see scratch marks going through mid, going towards that gen at bus, and sure enough, I believe that's the Nancy that we saw on the Killer Instinct, and no, in fact, that's the Ace. Once again, kind of getting pushed off of that gen, which is still regressing, mind you. We have not seen the other survivors for quite some time, though, so it's possible that they may have snuck off onto another gen all the while. We'll have to wait and see what comes of that, and if the artist has made the right choice as they do get a hit on the Ace. Looks like Nia has gotten reset, and the Claudette, though, getting caught out as they have not been able to successfully get healed. Dire Crow's kind of boxing the Nia out here. Artist wanting to get the down, but unable to get the hit on the Dire Crows. If they had, that would have been game over for the Nia, as that there would have been a guaranteed double tap, though Nia getting a lot of distance there after the stun. So a bit of, oh, Dire Crows, three survivors on it, a hit on the Nancy, and one more gen left to be completed. Honestly, took me by a complete surprise in the grand scheme of things, hence why I was a little bit frazzled there, but amazing job by the survivors getting in and completing that gen. No eruption on any of the remaining gens, and we now have a 2-1 split in favor of the survivors. Honestly, things looking a little bit rough here for the artist, even with a potential Scourge Hook incoming, and no Scourge Hook there, as looks like that was not one of the remaining Scourge Hook that we were not aware of. Could be over on Shaq's side, but at this point in time, I think the artist really needs to focus in on getting fresh hooks here, and if they were to find the Nancy, that would be the best possibility, as Nancy currently has not been hooked. They are fresh, and 3 points are available. We do see them here along with the Ace. Ace kind of getting out of dodge, but in a dead zone. Artist realizing that will end up going for them over the Nancy. Mind you, they are on death hook, so this is a huge play for the artist, as it will slow things down. However, will it be enough is another question entirely, as we see the Nia still hanging on the, sorry, not the Nia, the Claudette still hanging on the hook. So they will get unhooked here, and that will be Ace sent back to Campfire via the Entity, and we do see Nia, Dire Crow's 5th gen completed, and Adrenaline on the Nancy, I do believe, and looks like Nia went into a locker to try and avoid the Dire Crows, and avoid them they will, but getting mind gamed here as they will get down. However, we do want to note that the exit gates are on the complete opposite side of the map, so this is a guaranteed 2-person out. Nancy being fresh, this is absolutely huge for these survivors, to say the least. However, Nia will be sent back to Campfire along with the Ace via the Entity, and looks like we will see a out for Claudette and Nancy. Nancy being fresh, Claudette only being hooked once. That there is 5 additional points in favor of the Vine Dead on the escape. However, one little thing I did forget to note, that was in fact a no way out noise notification. So the exit gates were blocked for a total of 48 seconds, meaning that they are going to have a rough time. Honestly, it might be rough enough to the point that things might stall out here and we just get a extra lengthy end game as these survivors try and make their way out. The best thing that this artist can do is find the Nancy and get the down. That being said, looks like they found them, and this is a potential 6 points in favor of the artist. However, pallet's still up. They should probably break this shortly. However, setting up the Dire Crows instead, getting the swarm, but not the injure off of the flight path. And looks like artist trying to set it up will get the hit! And Nancy with the speed boost, but it won't be enough as they will end up getting down. Claudette opened up the exit gate, but all too late, as we will see the Claudette escape, but it matters not, as Nancy will be brought to the hook and will progress to death all the same. So GG, well played there by both sides, and a huge comeback in the end for Cynic, as they'll end up with 21 points instead of the aforementioned 15. So really well played there, and we will be going to trial number 4, where Divine Dead will have the opportunity to close out this match in the instance they are able to beat a 21-point match. Win condition overall going to be a 3K with 2 hooks on the last survivor, even at 5 gens. Whether it be anything less or a tie will force a set number 3. With that being said, we are going to go on a quick break. Before we do set up that lobby, of course, we remind you here today that you, yes, you the viewers, are our sponsors. So that as they watch, all the bits that I tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the Rogue Energy buy using the code COTF, goes supporting Champions of Fog and the prize pool for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. All right, and we are back for trial number 4, set number 2, Cynic versus Divine Dead. And we are going to be seeing Divine Dead's artist against Cynic's survivor team. And Divine Dead is going to need to get a, what is it, 3K2 hook in order to secure victory. It's not outside of the realm possibility. At the end of the day, if they get a 4K before 5 gens are completed, or even at 5 gens, they will end up taking the win here in round 4. That being said, Artist already on the tail of some of these survivors. And it looks like they're trying to stop them from getting to the active gens, but potentially unsuccessfully here, as we did see what looked to be the Leon making their way over towards Shaq's side. That being said, Quentin now in chase with the Artist, and it looks like Artist will try and set a swarm on them, though looks like Ultra holding W to the chagrin of the Artist here today, as they'll make their way into Small Shack or main building. However, with the carry-on here, they will be able to give him just a little bit of extra time. However, not being patient there, looks like the Quentin is kind of boxed out here and will end up getting down, as we see a 10% noise notification off in the distance. Quentin going up on the hook for the first of this match, and it looks like that there is a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, regressing the most progressed gen by 15%. That will be a huge boon to the Artist, to say the least, and we'll see if they are able to capitalize that much in the same way that we saw in the last match from Cynic's killer. With that being said, looks like Artist just content sending crows off into the distance. Almost reminds me of pre-nerf Ruin, when that would be one of the main perks that we saw Artist bring here. And looks like Artist trying to set up a double hit here. Let's see if it pays off. There's the hit on the Claudette, just enough distance. Really well played there on the Artist side, able to line that up, knowing that they are going to be trying to sit on that gen. So that is going to be huge for the Artist, as well as they're going to be able to get these survivors off the gens bit by bit. Claudette once again hit by the crows and the swarm, however jumping into a locker to avoid the hit from the dire crows, as we do see Quentin progress to second stage in the first gen popping off for these survivors. So far, only perks that we know from the Artist as of this moment are Scourge Hook Pain Resonance and Corrupt. However, with that gen completion, the Artist now has made aware to these survivors was that a double hit? Well, like, what just happened there? Leon is injured. Claudette got hit. Was that 2 injuries? Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around what I just saw on the UI, but it doesn't quite make sense. However, Nia taking it as well. As I was trying to say, Survivor's keenly aware of the existence of Merciless Storm in play, which we never see, to say the least. However, double swarm here on these survivors. Nia going down at the pallet. Quentin still up with the swarm, and looks like they will be able to shoot away just in the nick of time, as Nia will get down. But that was a huge play for the Artist, though they are determined to get this early kill. And Quentin in the thick of it, as they will get down by the dire crow, and this will be Quentin sent back to the campfire via the entity, and on top of which, a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance incoming, regressing the most progressed gen by 15%. So quite the chaotic set of events there, to say the least. But it does seem to be working out in the Artist's favor, as they are hot on the trail of what appears to be the Nia, as they are not only swarmed but also injured as well. And even in instance of a body block, severed hands here will make things quite difficult, as we saw before. Nia, though, doing a great job dodging the Artist, but unable to get the hit in time, as just narrowly dodging, as we do see the Killer Instinct pop. Nia, though, in main building, trying to evade the Artist to the best of their ability. and Artis setting up a strong set of Dire Crows, and there's the down on the Nia, and looks like this will be their first hook for them unless there is a survivor here for the pallet drop. Does not appear to be the case, and that will be another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance incoming. Total regression of 15% on the most progressed gen. No sign of survivors over there. Realistically speaking, the Artist just needs to hold their 3 gen, and this will be victory in favor of the Artist. Looks like they will go for the tunnel out here, wanting to get the hit, but not sure what happened there. Auto aim, or if Leon kind of got in the way. Either ways, looks like Leon will be hit by the Dire Crows, trying to get rid of the swarm as quickly as possible. Though it looks like Artist content to go for the Leon here, as they are going to be a potential Scourge Hook Pain Resonance target. And they are in the 3 gen. Looks like the Claudette trying to hammer away at this gen to break into it. But unfortunately for them, Artist was all the wiser and will be able to potentially get a double hit here if they do not play this right. And Claudette making a smart move, dodging the tile, dodging the Dire Crow on top of which. And looks like we will see a kick of the gen, which we have not seen so before. That there will be highlighted in yellow. So we'll have to wait and see if that is a eruption or if it is a Colubrine, though. I'm trying to remember if we did ban Scourge Hook and Eruption. I want to say we did, but I can't say with any degree of certainty. Either ways, though, we are seeing the Artist play to their 3 gen, play to their outs, and I think this is going to be a bit of a grindy 4th trial as Artist wants to hold their own and ensure that they are able to get this 4K. And honestly, they are in a fantastic position to do so, so I have no doubt that will be the case. No hits on the Dire Crows, however, finding the Nia and the Claudette here, setting up the Dire Crow, and looks like trying to set up a down here at the shack as well. Claudette, though, running through the Dire Crow to ensure that cannot get set up properly. However, blocking off Shack in its entirety here. Not seeing the Dire Crow there and the flight path. Mind you, that was set up quite a while ago. And Nia just not noticing it in time. We did see scratch marks there for the potential pallet drop, but Artist able to get around that. Though we do see the gen pop now in a 2-2 split. Artist may have made a mistake here, venturing away from their 3 gen when they could have instead used Colubrine to regress those gens by 200% per second and really hold them off the gens. So a risky play to say the least. We'll have to wait and see if it pays off in their favor, as they still have 2 more gens to go with 2 survivors left up and able. We see Leon here, and it looks like Artist trying to box them out and potentially progress the Nia here to death. We'll have to wait and see as Leon is going to cut through these Dire Crows, takes the hit from the Dire Crow in the flight path, and this now sets up for a very quick down, and on top of which, a potential Scourge Hook here. I don't think Leon has the time. Artist with the down as well. Nia with less than 15 seconds. Claudette would need to come in now and get the unhook underneath the Artist's nose, but I do not think that will be happening, as the Artist will send out a Dire Crow. Nia progressing to death, and Artist out on the prowl for the Claudette here after. Claudette going to be very careful here. Artist too, for that matter, though, as they could still potentially get a fresh escape via the hatch. We do see that this gen has a decent amount of progression, but no sign of the Claudette thus far. Leon still on the ground, so Artist knows they have yet to be picked up. No sign of the Claudette there either. Dire Crow's going out, but no luck there. No Killer Instinct, no Swarm to be had. I will say they do need to be mindful that if they do not hook the Leon, bleed out might cost them the win here as well. So they will need to pick them up here shortly, lest they risk taking a loss to the bleed out points instead. However, still no sign of the survivor. Being very mindful to spread out their Dire Crows to get a Killer Instinct, some inclination of where they might be. Mind you, Leon now has about a minute, actually, sorry, 2 minutes, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds before they do bleed out on the ground. We also could potentially see a bleed out play here, but Leon being found looks like Artis has had enough. They're close enough to the hatch, though, trying to recall where the exit gates are. Not sure if this will work out in the Artis' favor. We'll have to wait and see. No Scourge Hook, Pain, Resonance either. And mind you, the survivors in the last match for Divine Dead did complete all 5 generators. So right now, Cynic Survivor team missing 4 points from these last 2 gens, and Artis can really take their time and harass these gens from afar as Leon hangs on the hook for dear life. Artis trying to see if they can set up something over by the exit gate, and might not be close enough to get information, but we'll have to wait and see. So 1 exit gate over on main side. Looks like 1 over on Shack as well. Artis can get a pretty decent view and get a lot of information to boot. So Claudia have to do something quick. Mind you, Leon still has another 15 seconds or so before they progress to second stage. And then another about 30 seconds before they can suicide on a hook for the potential hatch escape. Mind you, it'll be only 3 points for the survivors on that fresh escape, and I believe 3 points lost for the killer. If that is the case, that'll be 6 points. That might just end us in a tie, as there's only 4 points missing from generators, and then it's gonna be close. It might be a 1 or 2 point difference. I can't do the exact calculations right now. We'll have to wait and see, as we do see the death for the Leon, who progresses to their 3rd and final hook, being sent back to Campfire via the entity, leaving just the Claudette to contend with. Artis, not content with just closing the hatch, will end up sending out the crows first to get some information. No killer instinct, however, potentially the Claudette being a little bit smarter than the Artis given her credit for, and will send out some crows again to potentially get some killer instinct. Mind you, the survivors are able, wait, scratch marks, that there is the Claudette coming out of hiding just a little bit too soon, and that there will be the end of this match as the final chase will occur, and I believe that there will be Divine Dead taking set 2 and the match in round 4. Honestly, really amazing showing by both sides, to say the least. And looks like we are going to be going towards the jungle gym here. Potentially a bounced lightning play from the Claudette, trying to make a little bit more distance here in this final chase. But Artis going to be setting up those dire crows, pushing the Claudette into its pathway. And there's the down on the Claudette. Really well played by both survivors and killer alike. And those will be our final hooks for the true 4K here for Divine Dead's killer. So once again, GG, well played, and congratulations to Divine Dead for taking the W here in round number 4. Now, that being said, guys, that there are actually going to be the end of today's matches. We had 2 offline matches, and if you guys missed those were on Champs of the Fog 2, so make sure you stop on by, say hi, and drop a follow there, as whenever we have some offline matches, they'll be streamed there as well. We're trying to make our way to affiliate on our 2nd channel, so definitely make sure to stop on by and say hi. But with that being said, guys, we are going to wrap up things here. Thank you all for joining us, and of course, we'll be back again next week with, I believe, an exhibition match on Friday, and then Saturday, hold on one second, next Saturday, we got some special announcements that we'll be making here this week. So keep an eye out, as we're going to be streaming all of our matches, I believe, all of our main stage matches on Champs of the Fog 2. So make sure you drop on by and drop a follow there so you don't miss the main stage matches, because I think I can announce it here at this point. We've been given the green light, we got the assets set up, so we're going to be good to go. If you guys have been enjoying Dead by Daylight Community Cups, as we call it, DBDCC, we have been given permission to stream the semifinals and finals matches of, at the very least, the EU and NA DBDCC. So I'll be here streaming those matches on Champions of the Fog. As a disclaimer, we are not partnered nor affiliated with DBDCC or Behavior. However, as a community member that has been active, you may have seen us as community admins over there. We have been given permission to stream them here on Champs of the Fog, and who knows, you might have some special guests as well co-hosting with me. With that being said, guys, I hope to see y'all then next Saturday, March 4th for DBDCC, and make sure to head over to Champs of the Fog 2 as well, where you'll see Rugard for the main stage matches of Champs of the Fog Season 6. With that being said, we'll see y'all then. Bye-bye!